First of all, I just want to say I'm a blessed man. I've got my three daughters in the back. They come late, but they come. I've got one in Sioux Falls. We've actually had a miscarriage, so we've got one in heaven. I'm sure it's a girl. Uh, and that's going to be a treat to see what one turned out without our misguidance in her life. I was talking to the one in Sioux Falls the other day. She called, and we were just sharing. She asked how I was, and I says, well, I got one of the worst colds I've had in a long time. And I said, you know, couple months ago, the orders just started rolling in, and I've got a couple part-time workers, and I was just working, getting up at 6:30, working until 10:30 at night. And I'd done that for a couple weeks, and I was standing there sanding blocks, and my right calf was tensing up, my shoulder was seizing up, and my wrist wasn't working. And I stopped the machine, slammed the block down, and I said, okay, folks, this is it. Nobody was there, but this is why people don't trick-or-treat in Island. But I said, okay, nobody's coming to help. We got to tough this thing out and either get with the program, and then it doesn't matter, we just got to do it. So everybody agreed, and on we went. I mean, if this stuff can talk, so can I. And I said, I finally got last week where the orders lightened up, and I just relaxed and said, whew, the pressure's off, and bam, the cold hit me. And she says, well, you know what happened, Dad. She said, it's the old cortisol steal. I said, what? I said, yeah. I said, when you get stressed, your body produces cortisol, and it's a hormone that regulates your body, and it's a necessary thing for part of your life, but if you overdo it, it just eats you up. So as I'm in the stress, I'm producing cortisol, and when you do that, you shut down your detoxification system, you shut down your digestive system, and you shut down your procreation system. And I don't want any more kids, but my digestive and detox things were on hold because I was just fighting through this. And so when I finally got over the rush and I relaxed, then my immune system kicked in, but it hadn't had any help for a month, and bam, the cold hit me. And that's the cortisol steal. And so that was fun visiting with her. So, and then Andrea's one of those people, special people in my life, that we can go to a deeper level. And she says, you know, Dad, I'm reevaluating success in my life. And without going into her particular details, she just said, you know, it's so many of us, we have our goals in life, and it's usually to get married, get a nice house, get a car, go on vacation with somebody you actually enjoy being with. And that's our idea of success. And it doesn't always, I don't know if it ever turns out that way. And so we were just sharing how sometimes you have to redefine success in your life. To stay with the analogy, I think it's plowing the ground up and starting to replant some new thoughts. And I had to do that in my own life because my success thing fell all to pieces. And part of it is you can just give up, and I did that for a while, but a better solution is just to reevaluate what the idea of success is. And so I did that, and as I reread the scriptures and you read the Beatitudes and the blessed are theys, you find out that success isn't so much achievements in life, it's more some character that's built in your life. And so those things started to change, and I just shared how a couple of weeks ago we were getting ready to play Frisbee, and there was only, I think, 8 or 10 of us, and my grandson was there, and I said, so how are we going to divvy this up? And he goes, well, he said, I'll pick Seth, and then we'll divvy up the girls. And I kind of looked around. It was one of my worst nightmares, because as I looked around, all that was left after the super stud Seth was picked was old men, women, and children. And so we divvied it up, and we're playing, and there's some awesome throws, and then there's some awesome catches, and we just had a great time. And as I'm leaving the field, I turned to one of the players, and I said, this was a great day. And they said, yeah. And I turned to myself, and I said, this is success. This is success. And then I read a story of a guy who had a child with a learning disability, and he was sharing before a group. And he said the same thing occurred to him. He says, how do you define success for a kid who has an extreme inability to learn and grow as other kids grow? And he said one of the marks of success for him was not so much what the kid could do, but how the people responded to him. And he told how he and his son Shay were walking by a park one day, and some boys were playing baseball. And he turned to his dad and he says, Dad, do you think they'd let me play? And the dad knew that most of the boys didn't want him to play because he wasn't that coordinated and good. But he also knew that if he didn't ask, he'd never know. And so he went up to one of the boys and he says, is it okay if my son plays with you? And the boy looked around and he wasn't sure what to say. He kind of tried to get some feedback from the others. He said, sure. He said, it's the 8th inning. He says, we're down by 6. He says, we'll finish this inning. We'll put him in the 9th, and we'll let him bat. It's like we're probably going to lose anyway, so what does it matter? So his son wandered over to, and they put a shirt on him, and the kids could tell that the dad was real pleased by the fact that they'd even given him an offer to play. They finished the 8th inning. They actually made a couple more runs, so now they were only down by 3. And they went in the 9th inning. They put Shay out in right field because there's not a lot of action out there. Most kids swing early, so that's why you put a shortstop there. But he was out in right field just happy as he could be, enjoying the game. And then they came in and they start the bottom of the 9th. And lo and behold, they scored another run. So now they're only down by, can't remember if it was 1 or 2. And next thing you know, the bases are loaded, 2 outs, and Shay's the next one to bat. And so then you can sense the debate going on. We said we'd let him play, but do we let him play because this is a sure enough no-win deal? And the dad was surprised when they handed him the bat, and they knew it wasn't going to be much of a hit because he didn't even know how to hold the bat right. And he went up to the plate, and the pitcher saw what was going on, how the other team had made an effort to let this boy play. And so he took a couple steps forward, and he threw the ball as softly as he could. And Shay swung with all his might, but he couldn't hit the ball. So the pitcher stepped a little closer, and he saw where he had swung, and I don't know whether the bat hit the ball or the ball hit the bat, but it was a hit, and the ball just took off and went right to the pitcher. And the dad was waiting for them to call the game because all the pitcher had to do was throw it to first, and the game would be over. And lo and behold, the pitcher picked up the ball and threw the ball, but he overthrew first. And so all of a sudden, there was a little energy that came on the field, and everybody's yelling, Shay, run to first, run to first. And the kid took off with all his might, and he'd never run that far, actually, for a long time. And he got there, and now they're in, Shay, run to second, run to second. And he took off again, and by this time, the right fielder had got the ball. And he was faced with a dilemma because, he didn't get a lot of action out there. He's the smallest guy in the team, and he thought, well, I can throw this kid out at second. But he said, what were these other guys doing? And so he threw the ball with those out, and he overthrew second. And now Shay rounds second, and with the help of the the shortstop guiding him wherever third base was, he made it to third. And now everybody's yelling, Shay, 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 all the way, Shay, 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 all the way, Shay. And the teams on both sides are standing, and the crowd's on their feet, and Shay's running for his life, and he makes it home, and he won the game, and it was a glorious thing. And the dad just shared what a special thing that was, that all these kids had given to make Shay feel accepted and special in life. He went on to say that was the last summer Shay was alive. And he died that winter. But he at least had the experience of knowing what it was like to be on a team to share with his friends. And I thought of a quote from William Penn, founder of Pennsylvania, and he said, he says, I'll only pass through this life once. He said, if there's any kindness I can show, if there's any good thing I can do, let me do it now, because I'll never pass this way again. And that, to me, folks, is success.